Welcome to the Daily Squeeze Take 41. How important is our mindset? So, my camera's doing a funny thing. I don't know how to stop it. I'm so sorry. Happy Monday! I don't know if it's trying to focus on me or not. It's just dancing for us, hey? Anyway, good morning, happy Monday. So I want to talk about mindset, and I think I'm going to talk about it all week. Why? Because it's so important. So obviously I've asked the question of how important is it, and it's really, I didn't plan for all my lives last week like I normally do, and I've just gotten up a little bit earlier today and I've been working on some stuff. I was up all last night, so I have not had a good sleep. I am in my walking gear because someone is still waiting to go out. I feel like a horrible mom this morning. Our mindsets are really massive. Sleep really affects me, and I woke up about 1:30 last night and I just couldn't get back to bed, and I was thinking about work, I was thinking about the weekend. We had a very busy weekend, and this camera thing is driving me nuts. I'm just gonna try and move you guys. Woo. Awesome. You can see Bud's by the door. He really wants to go out and get out for his WALK. I'm such a bad mom. Anyway, our mindset. So now that the camera's going okay and you can actually see how tired I am, I really want to focus on why our mindsets are important. There's different types of mindsets where I'll get into that this week and stuff. But this morning I really wanted to talk about what's your mindset like to start off the week, you know. Did you prep? Did you plan? Did you figure what your goals are for the week? Do you know what you want to work on this week? Did you get up? Were you motivated? How'd your Monday start? Stuff like that. If you are in the States still and you're going to be, it's Sunday night, so you're planning and prepping possibly now. Where's your mindset at? How motivated are you? What time are you going to bed? What time will you be waking up? All that stuff. Good morning, Margaret. How are you? Happy Monday. So our mindsets are really interesting in the fact of we need to take care of them as much as we need to take care of us. And for instance, waking up last night, I ended up coming up with a list of 3 things that I needed to do today for my business. One is a business and a me thing. And I really didn't understand how much it was weighing on me all weekend until it wasn't discussed all weekend, even though Mark and I were discussing around it. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, so we made a plan to talk about it, but we never actually talked about it. And then we went out with some friends for a goodbye, which was amazing. It was so good to crash my friend's work goodbye party and be able to say goodbye with all her workmates, since that's who we sometimes hang out with here. And it was interesting because as the night went on, her partner was telling us they're actually leaving their jobs to go travel around the world for a while, and he had a few drinks, but he was being bluntly honest with us and saying, oh, it's not for everyone, and it's really hard, and it actually sucks. And I'm sitting there going, man, like, he's so clear on his mind what's going to be happening, like the reality, the expectation, like he's so in focus in what they're doing on like this phone today. But he was explaining, you know, you don't have the luxuries that you do having a house, putting down some roots somewhere. You know, they're packing up into a few bags. They're going to, you know, be traveling and having these amazing experiences, but he was saying, you know, it gets lonely. He can't just, you know, turn on Netflix and have a day to himself if he needs it. There's always people around when you're traveling. It's not just about him, it's about him and his partner. So that can get really hard as well, because, you know, sometimes you can go off with your friends, or sometimes you can have alone time, sometimes you can just walk in the other room. But when you're traveling together, you're really traveling together. They're backpacking around for about a year before they settle, and it's weird because my Mark was asking, you know, oh, well, what did you plan, blah, blah, like, how did you plan for it? And to see Mark's mind working and to hear what he was saying, and he was just like, I could never do that. How do you not spend money? Because Mark is a spender. It was kind of like, how do you save like that? Blah, blah, blah. How do you know what you're doing is right? And the poor guy, he was just like, I have no idea what's going on. We have this much planned. Then, you know, everything could stay the same. We could go to Canada for 2 years, or we could fuck off back here, or we could end up in Europe. Like, the world's their oyster, but at the same time it's scary because, you know, they're gonna start fresh somewhere at some time in the future, and it would be, I mean, I've started over before. Mark and I have moved 3 times lately, and I feel like every time I start over, but he's consistent because he's always working. And I really felt for my friend, because I was just like, man, it's got to be so difficult to do that. But also I'm really envious. But then when he was so blunt about it, I was like, that's why I love holidays. I love being able to recharge. I love being able to have change, but then to go back to normal. I'd love longer change, like 3-month change, but I'm happy with what we have and what we've been deciding to do, Mark and I, for our like big future plans. And it was such a great night out, but, you know, it's all that mindset stuff. It's making the decisions, it's knowing, it's having that expectation of what to expect. You know, is the grass always greener? It kind of is. There's always pros and cons. Are you ready for it? No matter what you do, if it's change, you need to be ready for it. You need to be able to take that next step. They are. They've been planning for months. They're ready. We stayed at their house on Saturday night. They're starting to pack. It's real, and it must be really scary in a way. Like, just from someone who's saying goodbye now for the 2nd time. They've done this to me before. They left Mackay. We were trying to figure out how many years ago now. Yeah. I think 3 years ago, maybe? And we left Mackay shortly after, so I shouldn't really say anything about that one. But it's what's in your mindset. It's what you're ready for. And having your mindset in line with what your goals are is really, really important. Having that whole discussion Saturday night with them, and then Mark and I, we were making some massive, not making, but having some massive chats yesterday, and the things that we did. We were really looking into our future yesterday, some of the things we went and saw, some of the research we were doing, and it's really like, I think everything over the weekend just was, you know, in my head and kept me awake all night, because it's been on my mind all morning. It's, what do I want? Am I on the right track? What's the next step? Where do I want to go? How do I want this business to fit into all that? What are my fears? You know, all my fears are coming up now. Am I ready to face them? All of this and everything with our mindset, it's no matter what we do in life, it's all the same. Like, how we process stuff, how we figure stuff out, how we you know, decide to take that next step. It's truly something that you have to really be okay with. So while I was up this morning, while I was thinking of everything, you know, my mind was going 1,000,000 miles per minute, and I was just like really happy with everything that we're doing, Mark and I, and how we spend our weekend. But at the same time, oh my goodness, are we really doing this? It gets to be almost too much. So then as you're thinking about it, you can kind of take that step back and just check in with yourself, reflect a little bit. Excuse me, I'm gonna cough. Sorry. But yeah, take a step back, reflect, and actually think, is this what I want to be doing? Is this where I want to be going? And that's kind of, you know, how our mindset affects us. That's why it's so important to actually listen to how you're feeling and what's going on while you're going through all this stuff. So I've been blabbing for a little while this morning. I really need to get this pupper out to the field so he can run. I can get some fresh air. I hope you guys have a great Monday. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about the different types of mindsets, and we'll just dive a little bit further into that. But know that, you know, really think about what it is you want, and if your goals are aligning with, if your goals and your feelings and everything's making you excited and that excitement overtakes that fear, that means you're on the right track. So definitely step into that a little bit. It is scary, but try and take that step into it. So that's what I'm going to be challenging you guys to do this week, for you to do, as well as myself, because yeah, like I said, this weekend was just a big weekend, and it wasn't meant to be, and it may or may not have been for Mark. I don't know. Like, we'll probably talk a bit more tonight about everything, but it's very full on when you have so many things going on. So, you know, juggling work and life already, and then throwing in, you know, a weight loss journey, because it is about the journey. It's about how you cope with it. So it's all about your mindset and how that's going to play out. I see it in so many clients that they just want to lose the weight, but instead it's about them finding themselves, them falling in love with themselves. It's lovely to be on that journey with them. And I notice the more that my clients are going through this journey, the more I'm seeing myself come out in my journey. Like, I can reflect back on that a little bit, and I can see the different milestones change along my clients' journeys, and it's really nice to actually be able to pick that out and illustrate that to them. Not right away, but in a reflection in one of our sessions. Like, it's really good to say, oh, do you remember this? And just, you know, they'll think back at it and they'll really be like, wow. And it's some aha moments that are really good, but it all stems from our mindset. So this week's going to be all about mindset. I'll stop blabbing now, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.